So there's a metaphor. You'd sooner see a pig fly than a black swan. The metaphor was about an impossible thing, an inconceivable thing.
Cafeteria, large cafeteria.
Okay, unit standby for a tower.
So the SWAT team are in the air, and if they copy the circs.
Yeah, can you give us the 21 and any what's Charlie 5 MRL? Lincoln 3.
In the cafeteria, I have the shooter, one shooter.
Probably for somebody else in the
We're evacuating FD right now.
Prior to the discovery of Australia, everyone in the world knew that all swans were white.
I'm looking at him. Don't breathe. I need help.
But when they were discovered, the metaphor changed.
Black pants, black shoes, black pants, black shoes, black jacket.
It is the firm. You have a shooter. Where's your shooter, Chris? COA. We've got currently 4.
Okay, are you with the fire department or the police department?
I have one police officer with me, Police Officer Sutherland.
Okay, speak with the officer, okay?
12. I need immediate aid here. I have 2 that are still breathing and alive.
One student who was trying to crawl, and I didn't think that he was going to make it. And I remember telling him that, you know, everything's going to be okay. And I remember thinking, you know, you're telling this kid this, and in your mind, you're lying to this kid. I remember thinking to myself, why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to kids? Why wasn't I there to stop it?
Today, the metaphor of the black swan is about that impossible thing, that inconceivable thing that happens nonetheless. And in the aftermath, perhaps it changes the world.
When I was in LA County going through the academy, it was you're the best of the best, like every academy, you're the best of the best, and you know, you're gonna come out and you gotta win, win, win. And
all right, look at me right now.
Give me the gun and the badge, let's go, go, go. The reality is, if you would have told me I would be seeing some of the things that I've seen in my career, I would have said, you're crazy.
By and large, the vast majority of victims that we come across are victims of lifestyle choices.
You got any guns on you? No, papi. No, papi. I ain't your papi.
Whether it be gang or drug related, or a combination of those things that oftentimes lend themselves to violence and violent outcomes.
You expect shootings to occur in gangs. See, we have a series of assumptions about how the world's supposed to operate. And most assumptions we don't know until one day they get shattered. You don't expect your children's school to be attacked and all the kids massacred. When you have an event like that, that shatters the assumption.
26 victims shot and killed inside an elementary school. 20 of them were children.
A part of me, you know, I didn't believe. You just want it to be fake. Your mind keeps telling you that this is not real. Your mind is just struggling to comprehend what you're seeing and what you're smelling and the fear that you feel in your heart.
Well, everything starts out with what we call too much, too ugly. So if they're involved in a shootout, it's too much, too ugly, too soon. All this stuff is happening very quickly. Then when they get in an event, if they've not used it, it's too much, too ugly, too many dead bodies, too different. It's like the brain has no frame of reference.
Next thing you know, I'm just standing in the shower. I mean, I don't remember getting undressed. I don't know how long I sat in there. doubted myself. Every day I'm in the cafeteria. This day I wasn't.
There was a student resource officer in the building.
Everyone at my table was shot.
Everyone at my table was shot.
Why did this happen to me? Why did this happen to kids?
2 students are dead.
In 16 years in law enforcement, all that I've seen, all that I've dealt with, I've always been able to tuck it in the back of my head. It was something that I could conceal. I could go on with my job. I could move on with my day. This was different.
As a police officer in the academy, they don't give you, shooting school incidents for dummies. Every aspect of your life changes.
I'm usually a guy that likes to be in total control. And so when you're sitting there in an Applebee's crying because I thought of something, when you hear the same dispatcher talking over the radio, your hands start to go numb. You don't know why. For, weeks and weeks afterward, I kept seeing those children when I looked at other children of the same age. Their faces looked exactly the same.
Not to know the answers is okay, but to avoid trying to find a solution is the problem.
Resilient responders are people that adapt to the situation. So if you're feeling a reaction to this event, you can't ignore it. You should be feeling what you're feeling. So instead of saying, this shouldn't be bothering me, because you can bleed out psychically just like physically. So if you have a trauma and you're not paying attention, you will bleed out and you will move into the realm of PTSD. I like to use the analogy of, the Book of the Dead. When you go under a situation, you write all these chapters in the Book of the Dead, and one of the things you want to do is bury those in your memory center. And if you don't, then they're going to kind of haunt you. So part of what we encourage officers to do is to start talking about it, to process it, to move it to the memory center.
There was a lot going on in my head. I'm not one to ask for help. I'm not one that like to show emotions. A lot of us want to be able to get things done on our own. We know how to do it. And everyone always tells you don't want to go talk to a psychiatrist, because if you're there, either you're in trouble or they think you're mentally weak and you can't do your job. So no one wanted to go talk to a psychiatrist.
It's okay. I'll process my anger. I love myself. Woozah.
I don't know what the f you're talking about.
Yes, you do know what the f I'm talking about.
When I first got in the field, the thought process was handle it on your own. You shouldn't have to talk to anybody. You should be able to just put it behind you or go have a beer.
And he's about 2 steps shy of becoming a full-blown alcoholic. One step.
At the time I made that decision to go speak with a therapist, I didn't think that I needed it.
I'm telling you, he may be psychotic.
It's a bunch of psych bullshit.
Cops are, supposed to be stoic and, deal with their emotions, outside of work and don't let it affect them.
You see this face? This is a happy face. You all will be lucky to be as happy as I am.
We have to be smarter than that. We have to be truly braver than that to admit that we don't have all the answers and that we're not always, Teflon and that nothing can penetrate. We're human beings.
Whether you're talking in front of a group of people, you're talking to a pastor, or you're going to a counselor.
Transcendental meditation, EMPD, debriefings, you name it. Without those elements, I wouldn't be here today.
If you've been an officer or a deputy for a number of years, you have an accumulation effect of what has gone on in your career. The bottom line for you is to recognize that you need to offload the emotion. The sooner we recognize that and deal with it, the more healthy that we are going to be.
I knew that I had to find an outlet. Where that outlet was, I wasn't sure at the time. The feeling that I got when I was able to tell as much of my story as I did, the weight that came off my chest, to me that was a godsend.
We are only so strong individually. We are far stronger together.
I went up to the mental health professional that day and introduced myself and said, I don't want to go crazy.
Acknowledge the pain, the heartache, the emotion, and then recognize what we need to do to actually be better as leaders, as professionals, as husbands, as fathers, as friends.
I don't think all of us know when that moment is that we need to seek help. I know I waited too long, but better late than never, and that's what I'm telling myself. It's made me open up in a way that I never thought possible. It also has allowed me to see life in a different way. It is always there. It's always going to be there. There are always different triggers that something will come up and it will take me right back. But I think in time, healing comes.
Quote, it's about peace. It does not mean to be in a place where there's no noise, trouble, or hard work. It means to be in the midst of those things and still be calm in your heart.